since they mapped the human genome, they've discovered a DNA strand for people who tend to gravitate a little bit more towards high-risk behavior. I don't think any of us look at it as high risk. We definitely look at it as high reward. I don't know a single climber who wants to stick his neck out beyond, what he can objectively, figure out. It's a very calculated risk.
My mentor in the fly fishing profession was George Harvey. And one day on a trout stream, a mountain stream, he said to me, "You go above the bridge and fish to the bridge." And he says, "I will go downstream and fish up to the bridge. You will reach the bridge before I do because I'm 60 at the time." He said, "I'm 65 and I don't fish as fast as I used to." So I'm waiting on the bridge for him, and he comes around the corner and fishes up to me. And he says to me, "Boy, those trout sure were easy today, weren't they, Joe?" And I said to George, "Well, I guess they might have been for you, but they weren't for me. I didn't catch one legal fish." And he eyeballed me and smiled and said, "Neither did I." He was testing me. And so I've often felt one major quality of a person in this world is trust. If you can't trust people, then you don't have much of a life. And if you can't be trusted, you're not much of a person.
There's no greater teacher in the world than failure, you learn from that. And I've had them, but I always learned something from them, too. But I never left it get me down, right? My daddy used to say a little poem, if I may repeat it to you, and I think it's very apropos to my life. It was, you'll have to listen very carefully. If I shoot geese or peeled potatoes or herded snakes or alligators, though lowly be my task, I'll do it better than my neighbor or any other man. So well I'll do my task intended that passers-by will stop in awe. Keno is a peacherino. He's there to do or die. Now, there's a good lesson there. No matter what, if you dig ditch and you get recognition from it, you've accomplished something. After all, we're all struggling for our own identity, even if you are just a ditch digger.
If you're asked to do something, if my parents asked me to do something, and they asked my brothers and me to do lots of things, if my mom were alive today, she would tell you that I'm the one out of the 5 boys that she never had to tell me to do something 2 times. That's why I say do it now. And when I showed up at Penn State in 1991, I wrote it on a piece of legal paper and taped it to my desk so that in those moments when I wanted to get stupid, I would just look at my desk, do it now. And that's all the motivation I needed to do whatever it was that needed to be done.
I oftentimes will have these little brief mental exercises in my head, and that I would say to myself, I'd slow my mind down and I'll say, how do I know how to do this? How did I come to learn how to do this? Why do I know these things? How do I know these things? And because there's so much of what we do, if you're not careful, you just assume you just woke up one day and you knew them. And the truth of the matter is somebody took the time to teach it. And thankfully you took the time to pay attention.
I feel like a failure all the time. I heard somebody say recently, I know, I saw a thing on the TV news about a Zen garden, and they had placed like 5 rocks in this garden, and no matter where you view it from, one of them is always hidden, and they said that represents humans striving for perfection but never being able to reach it. And that's kind of what it's like when I'm painting. I'm always striving to have integrity and to put my whole self in and to create something that's appealing and meaningful to other people. But often you go out and do a whole day's work and you have just garbage. It doesn't come together for one reason or another. And it's heartbreaking because you spent all that time and you spent money and you have nothing to show for it.
Well, if there weren't problems, then none of us would have any occupation. Therefore, problems offer opportunity, and one person's problem is another person's opportunity. There is this fear of failure, but the other part of it is that if you don't change and stay on the path where you're not feeling comfortable and you're not going anywhere, then you must make those decisions. You're compelled to make them.
And you look at how many times someone like Abe Lincoln ran for office or tried to be successful in his law field or in business and failed, but he didn't view it as the final decision on where he was headed. He kept trying, he kept coming back, and he kept pushing forward and ended up being one of the greatest presidents in the country's history. So, if you have the attitude that failures, as defined by most, if you view them as opportunities, then it's a whole different perspective in terms of how you deal with it.
I don't know that I would call it laziness so much as it's human nature not to, not to want to face things that are so monumentally challenging.
Well, we all have a desire for comfort, and so some people just kind of go for more and more comfort at the expense of creating change in their life or doing some kind of work that might end up being really important or meaningful.
One of the things that I do so consciously now, and I have to say it's after the death of my husband, is I try not to say, oh, someday I'll do that. I try to do it and not say, oh, I wish I hadn't spent $200 on that. I just do it, and I don't look back. And I think it's more embracing every day, enjoying every day. Things are going to happen good in your life and things are going to happen really bad. And I think it's the ability to get through those bad times, put a smile on your face, have a positive attitude, because we're all going to have them. And so I think at the end of the line, where's your family? Who are your friends that are standing next to you? Have you had a good time doing it? Have you affected other people in a positive way? And have you enjoyed the ride? And I don't necessarily think I need to have $10 million to evaluate that at the end of my life.
I guess steps are the best thing. Is it's something I'm been working on a drawing that's got a lot of staircases in it, and what the drawing is about is no matter which staircase you get on, you get nowhere. It doesn't take you anywhere. So that's what I think it is you go up this staircase, that staircase, and sooner or later a better staircase presents itself, so you can ignore all those other ones. But it's a matter of proceeding from one stage to another.
Wisdom? I wished I knew. I think wisdom is, you can't be, it's like, what's the difference between knowledge and intelligence? Some people get their knowledge gets way ahead of their intelligence. And so wisdom is knowing where to stop, and knowledge, and use it.
If you try to reach for the sky, and it isn't there, and you can't grasp it, then you're in trouble. So I think you have to be realistic. What are your goals? You shoot for a goal. But sometimes, if it isn't attainable, maybe what you've already done is enough.
Do what you love to do and work hard. Kind of create your own path. And don't be afraid to make mistakes. Don't be afraid to fall down, but when you fall down, get back up. And the day that you think you know it all, do everybody a favor and get out.
I keep enjoying the dandelions in my neighbors' yards, and I know it makes them sick. They like to get out there and get rid of every one of them. But to me, they're very, very interesting to see in terms of it's a great color, they're great accents, and I would say a lawn with a group of dandelions is more interesting than one that's very well manicured and very clipped and clean. So that I guess you have to start enjoying dandelions.
I think it's up to the individual. I don't think, we don't make the environment. We got to react to what we live in and take advantage of what we have. That's what I look at.
But we live better than human beings have ever lived in the history of mankind. And I think we need to savor that and be thankful for it.
Making a happy life is probably the key to success. And that, as I said, it has different definitions.
I tell my children that I want to wear out, I don't want to rust out. So I'm wearing out.
You have to have humor in your life. And my mother always told me, there's only two things you have to remember in life to get through it. Your name, and I forget the other one. There's your humor.